Today I'm going to look at the Hobonichi Techo user book for 2016. This is the English language edition of the user book. I purchased this through JetPens. You can also, of course, get it directly from Hobonichi. See, this is the front cover, and it says, "Getting the most out of Japan's favorite planner." When you turn it over to the back, there's the back cover. It has some little information up here at the top corner about their official Facebook page for Hobonichi Planner and their Instagram account. This book, if you were to buy it off the shelf in Japan, would be about 700 yen. You can see the price right there, which comes in currently, the current exchange rate, it's like a little under $6, just shy of $6. And I think I should have looked up the exact price before making this video, but JetPens, I believe it was about $8 that I paid for it, and it's just about that much on the Hobonichi's regular website. So it's an interesting little guidebook. I have kind of mixed feelings about it on the whole, but I'm glad that it exists, which is pretty cool, and I'll explain why towards the end of my look at it here. So you can see it's very small, so that's something to be aware of if you're thinking of ordering it. It's 30 pages, and it's really more like a brochure on the Hobonichi than a real book. I'll give you a quick overview of what's inside. It has a little section here, everything you need to know about the Hobonichi Techo, and I kind of like this little tiny section here. Talks about how they decided to bring an English language version of the Hobonichi planners, and how they decided to market to overseas users, which is really a big deal. And again, I'll kind of get back to that at the end, but that was kind of neat reading that. You've got the contents here: Hobonichi Techo, the basics, the 2016 book features, 15 years of the Hobonichi Techo, 70 tips and tricks, an interview with Shigesato Itoi, and on the back there's a little bit about the Hobonichi store. So basically the book, it starts off here showing you, the pictures of the planner, the original, and that's one thing, if you're an English language purchaser of the Hobonichi, I think it can be a little confusing. When they talk about the Hobonichi planner, they're speaking of the English language version of that A6 planner. When they're saying planner, they're referring to the English version. The original Hobonichi Techo original is the Japanese language version of that small planner. The weeks and the cousin. So this is kind of interesting because it shows you a size comparison. They have a little page here just giving you a brief little blurb about the covers and how you can select different covers. This page gives you the features of the Hobonichi, the lay flat binding, the Tomoe River paper pages, space to write, your little daily hints and quotes, and the extras. This is a map showing you 82 countries in the world where people are currently using Hobonichi's planners. How you can use it and personalize it. So you can see kind of what I mean, that it's like a brochure on all the features of the Hobonichi. It reminds me of, like, when you go to the car dealer and you're looking at those brochures on the cars where they tell you everything that a car model has. It's kind of like that, except for your planner book. These next few pages are really useful if you're trying to compare between the different styles of planner. This page shows you the 2016, this is for the English language Hobonichi planner. See, it says English there. It shows you the exact size of the page. It shows you all the different features, what the add-on extras are, the fact that they're individually numbered. The following page concentrates on the original. This is what the Japanese language planner, the original Hobonichi Techo, looks like. And then you can compare that on this page to the cousin. It shows you full what a cousin page looks like and all the different features. And then this outer outline, that's the exact size of a Hobonichi cousin page. So you can see exact size, how the size of the pages in the cousin compares to the size of the pages in the original, in the A6 size. So this would be the A6, and then a cousin, of course, is what they call the A5 size. Next page does the same thing for the weeks. And then they have a little section here on the 2-book set for the Avec. And did I skip a page? No. And then this shows you some of the extras that are available. And there was some stuff here I didn't know. Like, I didn't realize that the Japanese language planners have, for example, these little pages that are set up to help you judge movies or TV shows or whatever. You can fill in the little stars for how good you thought something was. I just recently discovered last night that you can actually download a lot of these pages. There's a link to them in the notes section of the Hobonichi official Facebook page. So, and they are Japanese language. They're not translated into English or anything, but you can download them and you could print them out and paste them or washi tape them into your Techo if you wanted to use them. So that's kind of interesting because I did not realize that these different sorts of pages, you can see there's a special list there for gifts. They've got an anniversary reminder list up there. That was sort of interesting. They get into, over the next few pages, a timeline of the history of the Hobonichi Techo. As many of you probably know, it was the website started out, it was a kind of a general news, general interest website, a Japanese language general interest website with articles and things like that. And then they branched out into creating this planner. And they talk a little bit about how they took reader suggestions for what people would want to see in a planner. And that was how they designed the first Japanese language Hobonichi, which came out in 2002. So it's kind of cool. And it's kind of cool here. You can see a display. It shows a picture of a display in a Japanese store where they were selling the 2005 Hobonichi. So that's the timeline. The timeline continues through here. They talk about a cover collaboration they did with Disney in 2011. It goes all the way up to 2016, current iteration of the Techo. This next section is several pages long, and they give you 70 tips. This is the longest section of the book. 70 little random tips about different things you can do with your Techo, different ways you can use it, different things you can use it for, different ways to lay out your pages. It's really cool. There's a couple neat suggestions in here that I like. I'll give you a real quick one. I don't want to go through too many of them because I do feel that, you know, if you think this is something that you want or that you could find useful, that I want to encourage people to show Hobonichi that there is a demand for this kind of thing in overseas market, in English language market. So I don't really want to go through and tell you every single little thing, you know, because then people wouldn't buy it, and I would like Hobonichi to sell these if you're so inclined to buy one. But one of the tips they had, which I thought was kind of neat, was to cut the corners off of the pages that you use if you're using it as a planner. Like every time you pass a day, cut a page. And when I looked at that, that kind of reminded me of, I had a Japanese planner years ago, probably like maybe 15, 16 years ago, that I had gotten as a freebie in a Nakayoshi magazine, and it had the little corners were perforated so that every time you went through a day, you'd rip off the corner, and then you wouldn't need a bookmark to just go quickly to whatever current day you were on. So that's kind of a neat little random suggestion. Then you have this 2-page spread. It is an interview. It's really more like an essay by Shigesato Itoi, the creator of the Techo, who's of course also the creator of the game Mother. And he's basically talking about how the Hobonichi, he compares it to being a park, that, you know, people are gathering in it. And it's a really sweet little article. I kind of liked it, where I like that analogy that it's someplace where people are using it for all different things, you know, and he says you might see people sunbathing or people playing ball or people sitting reading books, and everybody's gathered in the same spot, but they're all doing different things. So that was kind of a neat little analogy there, and he seems like a very nice person. And finally, at the end, you've got, there's just a little plug here for the Hobonichi store online, and of course the production credits for the booklet, and that's it. So you can get a pretty good overview there of what this user book includes. And like I said at the beginning, one thing that I find really wonderful about the Hobonichi company, and I think, I came into this from being, I was an anime manga fan. I still am, for about more than 25 years at this point. I got into anime and manga in the late 1980s. And at that point, for so long, companies overseas, not just Japan, but companies in general, it's hard to bring things out to a different language market. It costs money, it takes time. And that's even if you're not talking about, a difference in writing characters and all that. It's a lot for a Japanese company to make the decision to bring something to a non-Japanese market. And, years ago, there was tons of stuff over there that you think, that's so cool, I wish we could get it over here. And companies were not willing, understandably not willing, to take that plunge and do that. And I really think it's wonderful that Hobonichi is doing that. So I think it's great when their overseas buyers can, show the love for the product if you like it, and go out and get these accessories and these little things. Having said that, this little book, it's neat. I think if you absolutely love Hobonichi Techo and you're just like a completist and you just want everything because you love it so much, then it's a nice little book to have. But unfortunately, I feel like the person who could really get the most use out of this guidebook are people who don't yet have a Techo, who are maybe deciding to get one, trying to make up their mind whether they want one or not, or, trying to make the plunge to go to a paper planner and wondering whether the Hobonichi is the right one for them. Because as you can see going through it, like a lot of the stuff in it, you're already well aware of if you own a Hobonichi Techo, if you're using it. Even like the 70 tips they give you, most of them are things that are either online or you could probably kind of put it together on your own, There were a few little useful surprises in there, but for the most part, it's probably stuff you could come up with on your own. The Japanese language version of this user book, from what I can see looking at Hobonichi's website, their Japanese language version is 80 pages, so more than twice as long as this English language version. And what it appears to be, somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm mistaken, but I believe the difference is that the Japanese language version of this has a lengthy section showing examples of other users and their artwork and spreads of how they're using the books. It seems like it has a very long section like that, which this one does not have. And I would imagine that's probably because of that time and expense of translating. And, in the English-speaking world, we tend to have an assumption that everything needs to be translated. If we get a bunch of pages with Japanese text, people are going to be like, well, why didn't they translate that? So I think that's probably why they didn't do that. What I think would be great is if this proves popular and if the overseas market for the Techo continues to grow, there's certainly not enough English language users, and you see enough spreads on Instagram and Pinterest that, it could be in a few years that they'll be able to do an English language version of the user book that includes those spreads. And you'll see examples of how people are using the English language version of the Techo the same as they're doing with the Japanese version. I think that would be really cool. For the time being, now I think people can make up their mind when you see what's in it, if it's something you'd like to have. I think it's it's a worthwhile add-on purchase if you're already buying stuff from Hobonichi or Jet Pens or someplace that carries this. It's a neat little thing to just add on to your haul. But I don't know if there's enough to it to recommend it as just a solitary purchase. But I do like it, and I'm glad to see that this product is making such inroads outside of Japan. And very, very happy with Hobonichi for taking the plunge to do all the work and expense to bring it to us. So thanks a lot. Bye-bye.